Have you ever wondered why some men crave your presence long after your body leaves the room? Why their messages don't stop, though their hearts never truly arrive? It's as if something in you wakes a hunger they can't name, something ancient, something more electric than desire. They say it's attraction. But Jung whispered of something deeper, the psyche's appetite for what it has lost. He might call it addiction, yet not to flesh. Addiction to your energy, the way your essence mirrors back the parts of him he abandoned long ago. This is not romance. This is projection disguised as passion, dependence mistaken for love. And so, the story begins. Some women carry a light that men do not merely see, they remember it. It reminds them of the mother who soothed, the muse who inspired, the innocence they traded for ambition. Her laughter expands the confined rooms of their own forgotten tenderness. Her silence exposes the noise they keep inside. He senses her as calm water beneath the surface of his chaos. And so, without knowing why, he drinks. Not from affection, but from thirst. But energy cannot be borrowed forever. It demands awareness, reciprocity, responsibility. When a man is addicted to your energy, he does not yet love you, he clings to the reflection of himself that you unknowingly provide. He mistakes your empathy for endless supply. He mistakes your understanding for unconditional access. Jung might have called this the dance of shadows, where one soul projects its hunger onto another's light. The man believes he has found his twin flame, but he has only found his missing self, mirrored, luminous, alive through her. And she, feeling seen, confuses being needed with being loved. Addiction to energy does not appear with cruelty or hostility. It begins softly, almost reverently. He speaks as if discovering a treasure, hypnotized by the kindness that sparkles in your voice. He marvels at your calm as though it can anchor his storms. Yet beneath admiration hides dependence. If her mood shifts, so does his world. If she pulls away, his confidence collapses. He builds the altar of his serenity upon her presence, and then calls it fate. But fate cannot be crafted from fear. It is built, instead, on the steady hands of two whole beings, not one feeding, and the other being drained. To see it clearly, one must step beyond romance and into archetype. For every woman who embodies nurturing light also carries her shadow, the part that believes she must always heal, always understand, always forgive. It is within that unconscious contract that attachment becomes power's disguise. She offers compassion, and he confuses it with rescue. She offers patience, and he confuses it with permanence. Her empathy becomes a mirror for his unloved self. Carl Jung taught that the unexamined shadow will seek expression outside the self. The man who cannot touch his gentleness will crave it in her. The woman who cannot see her worth will search for it in his gaze. Thus, the cycle binds both, the energy addict and the energy donor. And yet, there is no villain here. Only unhealed hunger meeting unguarded light. The addicted man does not truly want her body. He wants what her presence awakens, the forgotten permission to be whole. Around her, he feels the warmth of acceptance without having to earn it. It is not carnal attraction, though it borrows its language. It is spiritual dependency in disguise, an echo of the infant longing for warmth it once knew without words. He tells her she's different. He says he can't explain it. And she feels chosen, radiant, needed. But what he cannot explain is that he is touching, for the first time in years, the vibration of love unjudged. That isn't romance. It's therapy dressed as passion. One evening, she notices fatigue that has no name. Her laughter feels heavier. Her body still sits beside him, but her spirit feels borrowed, like an account accidentally overdrawn. She wonders how a love that began in such light could now taste of exhaustion. This is the first quiet alarm, energy depletion. For when someone is addicted to your energy, their peace becomes your weight to carry. You become the emotional battery that keeps their spirit running. And energy, unlike affection, does not lie. It knows when it's being taken without return. Jung wrote of individuation, the sacred journey of becoming whole, no longer divided into roles of giver and taker. In true love, both stand in awareness. There is exchange, not extraction. But in energetic addiction, balance dissolves. Each time she soothes him, she silences herself. Each time she saves him, he forgets how to save himself. And so the polarity deepens, his dependence grows stronger, her essence grows dimmer. Yet paradoxically, the dimming of her light is what ultimately awakens her. For when exhaustion replaces enchantment, she must finally choose between peace and pity. The Stoics might have smiled knowingly at this juncture. Epictetus would have said, "You cannot pour calm into another without first mastering your own." In other words, your energy is not hospitality to be endlessly offered. It is a sacred boundary, an expression of self-respect. If you look through the eyes of philosophy, you see the lesson clearly: every addiction is born from avoidance. He is addicted to your energy because he avoids meeting the vacancy within himself. But your task is not to become his medicine. Your task is to remain medicine unto yourself, to tend the fire without feeding his addiction. In psychological terms, this dynamic is the meeting of two traumas. One rooted in need, the other in nurture. The energy addict often comes from emotional inconsistency, affection that had to be earned. The empathic giver often comes from the same soil, value that had to be proved through caretaking. Together, they dance the old family waltz. He reaches for soothing, she reaches for purpose. But love that substitutes therapy only keeps both in childhood. True connection begins the moment both awaken to their patterns and own their projections. Projection, Jung said, is the soul's earliest love letter, written not to the other person, but to what one has hidden. When he tells her she's perfect, he's really confessing what he believes he's lost. When she believes his obsession means devotion, she's really witnessing her own forgotten worth mirrored through him. Each projects, and each believes the projection is truth. Until one of them remembers that love, to endure, must be made between real people, not reflections. There is a quiet courage in seeing this clearly. To look into addiction, not to shame, but to understand. The man is not wicked for his hunger. He is empty. The woman is not foolish for her compassion. She is generous to a fault. Yet compassion without discernment is self-erasure, and emptiness disguised as passion is dependency. The cure lies not in blaming either, but in calling each back to their own wholeness. Energy, after all, is not a mystical idea, it is attention, time, emotional labor, forgiveness, creative presence. It's the grace with which you hold another's chaos without losing your form. And when someone is addicted to your energy, it means they rely on your life force to regulate theirs. He feels restless until he feels your calm. He feels lost until you tell him he's enough. He feels unworthy until he sees his reflection in your approving gaze. But that endless loop always ends the same way: he cannot sustain his peace alone. And you begin to feel invisible inside your own tenderness. Here is the paradox: the more you give to prove love, the less authentic the connection becomes. Your energy stops being a gift and becomes a drug. He gets high on your serenity. You get tired of being the supplier. Jung would say both have stepped outside their true selves. Neither is individuated. Both are trapped in archetype, the wounded child and the eternal healer. One afraid of being unloved, the other afraid of being useless. But what happens when the healer stops rescuing? When the woman remembers she was never meant to hold up another's sky? He will shake, he will call it coldness. But it is simply withdrawal. The withdrawal from energetic dependence, the detox from emotional outsourcing. And slowly, if he's willing, he will meet himself again. The process is brutal and sacred. It requires her to detach not from care, but from control. To release the belief that her value lies in being his calm. To understand that love is not giving beyond your capacity, but honoring your capacity as love itself. Detachment here is not coldness, it's maturity. It's saying, "I will not starve to feed you." It's realizing that your tenderness was meant to illuminate, not to supply. That your empathy is medicine only when shared between two conscious souls. When she stands in that realization, something extraordinary happens. Her energy, once siphoned, begins to return to its rightful owner. Her laughter becomes lighter. Her silence peaceful again. She no longer vibrates on the frequency of rescue, but of presence. And in that presence, the addicted man faces himself. For the first time, without her energy filling the void, he feels the contours of his emptiness. This is the beginning of his awakening. Jung would smile here, for this is the moment of shadow integration. The man finally meets his inner feminine, the anima he sought in her. He begins to honor his own sensitivity, his own gentleness, without needing her as its container. He learns that calm is not something to be consumed but cultivated. And she, in parallel, meets her inner masculine, the animus that anchors her. She discovers strength without hardness, distance without detachment. Together, though apart, they begin the sacred individuation, the becoming of whole beings. When this happens, even separation becomes grace. Because wholeness knows no desperation. Energy addicts cannot survive on distance, but healed souls thrive in authenticity. What once felt like obsession dissolves into understanding. He sees that he was never addicted to her, he was chasing the reflection of his inner peace mirrored through her warmth. She sees that she was never his savior, she was a mirror too, reflecting her own hidden worth through his need. And suddenly the story, once tangled in need and projection, becomes a mirror of evolution. Love, finally, becomes honest. In the language of spirit, this transformation is alchemy, the transmutation of dependency into awareness. When the feminine withdraws her overgiving, she is not punishing. She is purifying. When the masculine confronts his emptiness, he is not breaking down. He is breaking open. The Stoics called this self-mastery, the art of being governed by reasoned love, not reactive desire. Jung called it individuation, the journey from illusion to integration. Both describe the same sacred essence, to love without consuming. To those who have felt the exhaustion of being someone's emotional oxygen, understand this: you were never too much. You were simply giving to someone who mistook possession for connection. Let there be forgiveness, but not return. Let there be compassion, but not captivity. For to stay in the cycle is to re-enter the dream of the shadow, where love is sought only as medicine for pain. You were sent not to heal his wounds, but to show that healing is possible. That is enough. And to the men who have recognized themselves in this mirror, there is no shame in needing light. But make it your duty to build that light within. To honor the energy you once consumed by learning to create your own. For there is nothing more magnetic than a man who carries peace without needing to borrow it. So when a woman's energy stirs something inside you, pause. Ask not how to keep her, but what in you she awakens. Ask not how to hold her closer, but how to meet yourself more deeply. For healthy attraction does not drain, it expands. It does not consume, it elevates. Love is not ownership. It is resonance. When both walk this path, the healing path of consciousness, the dance changes. No longer is the feminine the endless well or the masculine the endless seeker. Now, both pour and both receive. Both stand as temples of their own wholeness, meeting not out of lack but out of overflow. This is love beyond addiction. It is choice without compulsion. Freedom with connection. It is the quiet knowing that says, I am complete, and so I can share. And the energy they exchange now is sacred not because it binds, but because it liberates. Remember this hidden truth Jung left between his lines. What you crave in another is always the echo of what you are meant to reclaim in yourself. To love consciously is to see your reflection, claim it, and then walk beside the other, not behind, not ahead, not within, but beside. When a woman knows this, she no longer confuses intensity with intimacy. She recognizes the man addicted to her energy by the way he drains instead of exchanges. And she walks away, not in bitterness, but in reverence, for both his lesson and her liberation. That is her rebirth. That is her sovereignty. And to every soul listening, there will come a moment when someone's eyes plead for your energy again. You will feel the familiar pull, the ache to be understood, the temptation to soothe. Breathe. Remember this truth: you are not medicine for the unfinished. You are the testimony that healing is possible. Your light was never meant to be consumed, it was meant to be witnessed. Your energy was never meant to be addictive, it was meant to inspire self-remembrance. And when you turn from addiction toward alignment, you become something extraordinary, not someone's relief, but your own calm. Not someone's obsession, but your own center. Not someone's projection, but your own truth. That truth radiates differently. It no longer whispers, "Please see me." It declares, "I see myself." And that is the energy no one can ever be addicted to. Because it no longer feeds the wound. It awakens the soul. So perhaps, Jung's hidden truth is not so hidden after all. Love is never about possession, body, or even chemistry. It is about consciousness finding its reflection, and then returning home. When you are no longer needed, but instead chosen, when your energy inspires rather than sustains, when your presence amplifies rather than replaces, you have entered the sacred field of real love. Walk in that. And when you do, you'll stop wondering who is addicted to your energy, and begin embodying the miracle of being whole.